Welcome to the Dads of Football. I'm Jeremy Harridges, bringing you some breaking news. Now, before I get into that, you'll notice that my partner, the other half of the Dads of Football, Josh Teschner, is not with me. This is one of those where, hey, this is breaking news, so I just got to jump on the mic and drop some info and a reaction to this. And this is a big one. So for those of you that are Iowa Hawkeyes fans that don't know me, I am an '06 Iowa Hawkeye grad. I went there for 4 years during my undergrad, and I loved it. I'm still a giant Hawkeye fan. As you can see behind me, I'm representing with the Iowa Hawkeyes behind me. And we knew that we would talk about Iowa a lot in terms of football. I love Iowa football. So far, we've been talking about everything NFL. And now it's time to talk about Iowa. And I wish it were under better circumstances. Here's the deal. So I'm scrolling through Twitter, just going through, seeing what's on my timeline, what's happening in the world, what's happening in sports, what's happening in politics, yada, 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 yada. And then what do I find? Kadyn Proctor, who originally committed to the University of Iowa last year, 5-star offensive tackle from Iowa, said he was going to go to the University of Iowa day before signing day, decommits, goes to Alabama, plays his freshman year at the University of Alabama. Hey, you know what? Obviously, we would have loved a 5-star recruit at the University of Iowa, especially on the O-line. We didn't get it. He went to Bama. Okay. Well, he plays his year there, has a good year. I mean, there were some ups and downs. You have to remember he's a freshman, and so be it. But plays his year, gets to the quarterfinals, semifinals, Final Four, and they lose to Michigan in a close game. Kudos to him. I mean, he's a natural wonder. So then he says, you know what? I want to go home. I want to go back to Iowa. And Iowa fans immediately forgive him for decommitting and going to Alabama. Hey, there's money, right? There's NIL money. There's all that type of stuff. It's Alabama, Nick Saban. Well, Saban's gone. So it makes sense that, hey, now he doesn't have that ultimate best coach ever coaching anymore. He wants to come back home, go to Iowa, leaves, transfers from Alabama to Iowa. I love it. Iowa loved it. Everybody that's a Hawkeye fan loved it. We got our guy. He's back. This is the way it was meant to be. Thank goodness. Months roll around. And as I'm scrolling through Twitter, I see Kadyn Proctor, offensive tackle, Iowa, is transferring back to Alabama. Let's check that for a second. Committed to Iowa, verbal. Decommit, goes to Alabama, plays for Alabama. Decides, you know what? This isn't the place for me anymore. Going back to Iowa, with Iowa, and now on, what day is it? March 19th, the news stories are rolling out, and I will give you your props, Scott Dochterman of The Athletic, the first to report it. He's going back to Bama without ever having a practice at the University of Iowa. There's no making this up. This is happening right now. And obviously, as an Iowa fan, I'm charged up about it. I'm feeling it. I'm angry. I'm every which way. And what are you thinking, Iowa fans? Comment below if you've never been here. Guess what? We're going to be talking about Iowa a lot. I didn't think this would be the first Iowa video. It's the first Iowa video. Kadyn Proctor, Iowa, Bama, Bama, Iowa, Iowa back to Bama. That's what it is. This has never happened, as far as I know, in the history of college football, that you've had a player decide to go back to the school that he originally came from, not even before the season starts, and here we are. I don't know what to make of it. I thought it was a joke at first. I thought it was crazy. There's no way. It's April Fool's in March, right? It is early one. Nope. Scott Dochterman, first one on the Athletic. I put the link below to report it. SI then reported it. Dave Eichholt reported it. This seems like it's fact. On top of that, I don't know if it was Eichholt or Dochterman who discovered. I think it may have been Dochterman. I don't know. Basically, he deleted all of his Iowa content off of Instagram. There's no leads as to why. Why did he leave? What did he decide wasn't good about Iowa that he wants to go back to Bama? Why the change of heart? And on top of that, Iowa has put together a very strong collective for NIL. The Swarm NIL is put together this money to go to players, to pay them, to make sure that they get the money that they're worth. He already got paid for doing nothing at the University of Iowa. He has not played a down. He has not had a single practice on a football field for Iowa, and he got paid by the Iowa Swarm NIL. And he can pocket that money and then go back to Bama. Holy moly. What does that say? Now everyone's starting to talk about, well, without collective bargaining, I think it was Dochterman that brought it up, or Eichholt. I can't remember. I went back and forth between them. They're both amazing and great. Follow them. But they're saying right now that there's nothing that can be done. The money is gone. He basically robbed the bank and now is getting to go back to Bama and do his thing. Oh. Whoa. What? If you were a fan of Kadyn Proctor, what do you want to say about him? What do you think about him? I don't know. Now, I'm obviously pretty hyped up about this because I love Iowa football. It's one of the great joys in my life. I'm just a fan. And I'm biased. You know, I'll tell you this right now. I'm on YouTube. I'm YouTubing. Is that a term, YouTubing? I'm YouTubing right now. Back in the day when I was a sports journalist, I covered boxing. No bias allowed. Here, you're going to get some bias. I try to keep it out, but the bias is here. I'm sorry. I'm an Iowa fan. That's why we're covering it. I love Iowa. Okay. And to see that the best offensive tackle prospect that we've had since Robert Gallery is leaving us not once, but now twice. It's unbelievable. This is one for the history books, and this could really change things. They talk about collective bargaining. How do you guarantee that this stuff doesn't happen again? I mean, it's insane. It is truly wild that this is occurring right now. And I just had to get on camera and shout out to my fellow Hawkeyes out there. How are you feeling? Now, obviously, I'm trying to think of the word. I'm sad going through there could be anger there too, but you know what? I got to check that because at the end of the day, Kadyn Proctor is a 19-year-old college kid. He's 19. And notice that in my disappointment, that's the word. In my disappointment, I have to check that and remember that he's someone's son. He's 19. He's a young college kid with a world of options open to him. And while it is ludicrous that he will have decommitted from Iowa, transferred to Iowa, and then transferred back to possibly Alabama, he's 19. And he's 19, and that's okay. He has the options to do it. It might be ridiculous that he's doing it, but if you got the power to do it, then there's nothing stopping you. Now, ethically, this is going to raise some concerns for people, especially even at the pro level, that what does this say about his character? What does this say about his commitment? I mean, not only did you bail on Iowa, You bailed on Bama, and then you bailed on Iowa again. So there are legitimate concerns about his commitment level. Is he going to be a loyal person? So far, he's not proving any loyalty to anyone other than himself. And maybe he doesn't owe anybody anything other than himself. You could make that argument. In this world of business where corporations and the NCAA and the NFL screw people over all the time, maybe, hey, this young kid at 19 can screw people over because I don't owe you anything. I can respect that too. But if you're a Hawkeye fan, this one's going to hurt because you wanted to love Kadyn Proctor so much. I wanted to love him. Fool me once, right? Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Shame on me. I thought that he was going to be one of those all-time greats at the tackle position for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and alas, it's not meant to be. So, yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I'm a little saucy about it. Yes, I would have never seen this coming, nor would a lot of other people that are Iowa Hawkeye fans, but it's here. But again, with all the upset and all the, oh my God, how could this be happening? Again, he is 19. I don't know who's in his ear, who's guiding him. I don't know where he's at mentally, emotionally, but he's 19. He's still a kid. And you could say, well, 19, he's legally adult. Nah, he's a kid. And obviously he's pretty confused, or he's just finding out the ways to maximize money out of all this, considering he obviously got paid at Bama, he got paid at Iowa. And then if he's going to go back to Bama and get paid again, whoa, that puts a whole new spin on things. But things in the college football world may not be the same again. And again, when you talk about contracts and collective bargaining, this is now going to be the example that people use to make sure that that gets punched through the door, that it happens. It's going to change. This is going to be the case study, and hundreds of thousands of dollars are out the window that could have gone to the next great Hawkeye that are now going to someone that's never going to play a single practice at the University of Iowa. Crazy. Game-changing. Disappointing. 19-year-old kid. And guess what? He's probably still going to win. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you're Alabama, considering that he walked out on you, are you going to take him back? Now, you've got a new coach down there in Coach DeBoer, right? So DeBoer needs all the help he can get. He had enough guys jump ship after he came down there. So I bet DeBoer's point of view is, hey, you're a new recruit to me. I'll take you while I can get you. But at the same time, if you're in the locker room of Alabama and Kadyn Proctor was your guy, and then he left you and now he's coming back, do you think twice about him as a teammate? Do you really question whether or not you can trust him as a teammate? And if that happens at the college level, what's going to happen at the pro level? Can you count on Kadyn Proctor? And again, I'm trying to balance it out here, and I'm trying to keep the emotion out of it, and I'm trying to think with this and not with this. 19, silly mistakes, confusion, being pulled in too many directions, or is it a character flaw? We don't know the answer to that entirely. However, I'm sure if you're an Iowa fan right now, you might be thinking, well, it's obvious there's a character flaw, but we've seen this before too. Someone in the comments on the Hawkeye Heaven account, which I love that account. If you're a Hawkeye fan, check out Hawkeye Heaven. Good people. Someone in the account said, man, this is like Juan Harris 2.0 happening all over again. And if you don't remember Juan Harris was a high school player that committed and decommitted some 5 or 6 times. I mean, over and over and over again. He was going to go to Iowa, and then he was going to go to Indiana, Iowa, this school, that school. I think he ended up playing at a community college for a little bit and has disappeared off the face of the earth. Basically ruined his opportunity. Now, he was a 3-star. Kadyn Proctor is a bona fide 5-star blue chipper. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He can pull this off because he's that good. Stats on Kadyn Proctor, and I just want to make sure that I get them correct. He's, I think I have him listed as 6'7", 360. He has all the goods. He can move. He's got the size. He's got everything. Pencil him in as a first-round draft pick. Character flaw or no character flaw, he is going in the first round of the NFL draft. I'm telling you that right now. I guess he can do whatever he wants. I mean, that's what we're seeing. And if that's the case, I guess he can keep doing it until enough people say no mas. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kadyn Proctor here on out. As an Iowa Hawkeye fan, you got to be sorely disappointed. And as a Crimson Tide fan, you got to be scratching your head and thinking, do I even want this guy back? Considering he left me once. Considering how good he is, you probably do. I know I did. I said, man, I scratched my head for a second as an Iowa fan. Do I want him back? And I said, yeah, I do. I want him back. I want him back. He's that good. But the constant switching, 19 or character flaw? That's the question that is going to remain in the background for the rest of Kadyn Proctor's career until maybe 5 years, 6 years into the professionals, until people say, you know what, this guy's rock solid and I can trust him. And I hope that the confusion for Kadyn Proctor clears. I hope he figures out whatever he needs to figure out. And I hope that he ends up proving that ultimately he is someone that you can trust, because obviously if you're a Hawkeye fan, you can't trust him. If you're a Crimson Tide fan, maybe. Will be interesting to see what happens. Does he in fact go back to Bama? Or do they say we don't want you? Time will tell. Let's see what happens now with the college football NIL scene and collective bargaining. This may be the tipping point. So, my first one-off on the Dads of Football channel. Breaking news, Kadyn Proctor announced going back to Bama, possibly as the leading vote getter, leaving Iowa for the second time, having never practiced and never played a down of football. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. I'm energized. Not feeling good about it. Sorry, Hawkeye fans. Hopefully next time I do an Iowa-related post, it'll be under much better circumstances. Let's hope. Make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.